Hey y'all, TheShuckingChef here. Today's video is going to be the first video in the Recreating Restaurant Plate series I'm going to do. I'll be showing y'all how to make the most popular and requested dishes from the various restaurants I've worked at over the last 14 years here in Virginia. Sorry, the dog's looking at me. We're doing my version of Oysters Rockefeller today. It's going to be a Virginia rocked oysters. This recipe is also one of my family's favorites. Always getting asked to make them for Thanksgiving, Christmas, any family gathering. They really make a great appetizer or snack. I promise you, everyone will love them if you make them. They'll ask you to make them for every gathering or party. They're really going to enjoy these, and you guys will as well. The active time for this recipe is 20 to 30 minutes. You can make the mixture the day before. It just needs 3 to 6 hours to cool down and rest. The recipes for a decent sized batch, it's kind of hard to make this in a really small batch. This will probably be enough mix for 100, 150 oysters, depending on how much you portion per each oyster. The mix lasts for a week in the fridge covered. You can put it into smaller containers and freeze it and get up to 6 months, probably a little bit longer out of them. This is really going to be an awesome series. Super excited to show y'all some easy to make dishes that your friends and family will love. They'll be impressed. I'll try to keep these videos short and to the point. Sometimes I get excited and I might get a little bit talking and kind of going on. I apologize. I'm super passionate about food and cooking. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump into this. Thank y'all for watching. If the series sounds interesting, drop a like, subscribe, check everything out, and just thank y'all. All right, because I live in the middle of nowhere, I wasn't able to find the exact ingredients I would normally use at the restaurant. So today we are substituting shallots for 1 medium onion, and we're substituting jowl bacon for some very thick cut bacon. We're going to use 3 slices of this. Half of a can of seasoned mixed greens. You can use collard greens, you can use mustard greens. I prefer the mixed greens because you get a nice balance. We're going to use some garlic. I just went the lazy way today. Need panko breadcrumbs. Nice hard cheese, usually like Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano, or a nice Pecorino. Today I have a really awesome manchego that's a local goat farm. They made this. It's fantastic. So I'm going to use this to top my oysters with. I'm also going to use a handheld immersion blender. I'm just going to use a quart container, and that's to puree our green mix. I'm also going to need a medium walled heavy bottom pan, either a rubber spatula or a wooden spoon, and some fresh cracked black pepper. All right, we're going to slice the strips of bacon into lardons. We're going to go in half. I'll go ahead and just take the little piece off now. I'm going to cut it thin strips lengthways. A sharp knife is key here. And really cold bacon straight out of the fridge. And then we're going to come back and get a nice dice here. And I know this looks like a lot of bacon, but this mix will keep in the fridge for a week at least, as long as you use the right amount of fat. By fat, I mean butter, which I forgot to mention earlier. A nice diced bacon. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to wash the knife off real quick. Bacon goes straight into a cold pan. And we're going to add about 4 tablespoons of water, cold water to this. And then get it on the stove, get the fat rendering out, and then the bacon will fry itself in its own fat. There we go, we got our water in the pan. We're just going to bring that up
on medium-low heat until the fat starts rendering out in that water, and then we're going to slowly cut the heat up until it steams, and that water will all evaporate and leave nothing but fat behind, and then the bacon will fry itself in its own fat, and then we will add the onions to it. But right now we're going to chop these onions. There's really nothing special about this, just you want the onion fairly fine diced. Kind of want it to melt in with the rest of the ingredients because you're going to puree the collards. You just want these onions to dissolve and just kind of be in the background there. They're not the star of the show. A quick once over. We're only using this half of this onion. We will update the recipe in the description. Alright, not too fine. I'm just going to throw that in a bowl off to the side, and then we're going to puree our collards. Got our can of collards open, or mixed greens. Just going to take a spoon and put about half of this can, and then the liquid, into my quart container. And then we'll use our immersion blender to puree it all up. Alright, I'd say that's about half. And half. If you get the smaller cans, just use one whole small can. Puree till smooth. You're good to go. For the garlic, we're just going to mince it. 2 cloves of garlic. I like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to use this massive clove here. Just going to go down. Just a real nice dice. Cut into slivers. Kind of thick slivers. You don't want it to be a mince. You just want a really nice dice. Just don't want the garlic to come through. And the bacon starts to brown. You see that Maillard reaction there? And that browning starting to stick to the pan. We're going to go in with our onions. Yeah, that's what we want. Get them onions coated in all that fat. And they're going to add some more moisture and start steaming. Slow that cooking of that bacon down a little bit. In about 5 minutes, the onions are translucent and they're all starting to stick on the bottom of the pan again. Now we're going to go in with our garlic. We're going to do that for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to add our butter and the collard. The garlic nice and coated in that fat. And then we'll add our butter once it starts to brown, just barely. Don't want to burn this garlic. In about 45 seconds. The garlic's starting to brown up, real fragrant, real nice. This is a quarter stick of butter cut up straight in. And as soon as the butter melts, we're going to go in with our pureed green mixture. The butter just melted, in with our pureed greens. We're going to reduce the heat to as low as your burner will allow and reduce this for about probably 6 minutes. It's been about 6 minutes. I just wanted to reduce some of that excess liquid from the greens. And that's looking right about where we want it. We're going to cut the heat. We're going to transfer this into our rinsed out quart container. Trick is to be quick. Now, because of the amount of rendered bacon fat and butter that we've added to this, this is going to get solid, but it's still going to be kind of malleable once it gets real cold. That yielded 3/4 of a quart. It's about three cups. And break this into smaller containers and freeze it. And like I said, it'll last six months. I'm going to put this in the fridge and let it set. And then we're going to shuck our oysters, top it, put our cheese, and throw them in the oven. All right, Joe. This is the mix after cooling in the fridge. Like I said, you can see it's super malleable. It doesn't really like get solid. It just gets this nice. That's from all that fat in there. But let's get into it. We've got our oysters here. Just going to try to pop them on this tray. In the hinge, a little light twist up between the meat and the shell. And from the side, cut the oyster free. This is just, I roasted some oysters last night, so this is just Himalayan rock salt on a tray. Kind of holds the oysters in place a little bit better. Big rock salt would be a lot easier, or kosher. But I had a ton of pink Himalayan salt, so I just decided to use that. We are leaving the pea crabs in because they are good luck. I'm sure y'all didn't hear it, but so we're just going to take about half a spoon's worth of this big oyster here. A little bit less on the rest of them. You don't want too much of this mix on here. You kind of, you still want the oyster, the flavor of the oyster to shine through. You want the greens and the bacon and everything to complement the flavor of the oyster. That's our mix. Take our cheese here. I've been eating the heck out of it. I'm just going to do 5 little slices. And just right on top, I'm going to take our panko breadcrumbs and put them right on top of the cheese and kind of all over the oyster. They're going to go in the oven at 425 to 440 for 8 to 12 minutes. Just whenever they start to brown on top without having the broiler on, then you know they're close. You can cut the broiler on the last second if you want to, but you just want to make sure that the oyster steams itself. It cooks itself in the shell since we didn't chop the oyster up and put it in the mix. We're at 425. Oysters are going straight in, middle rack. 8 to 12 minutes, depending on your oven. You really got to eyeball these. All right, they're starting to brown up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and cut the broiler on. We're going to broil them. And like I said, you just got to watch these. And that's what we're looking for. And here we have our
Virginia rocked oysters. I've got this cool little oyster dish. It's given to me as a gift. We're just going to drop these right on there. Virginia Rockefeller. Guys, that was it. Virginia rocked oysters. Super simple, super quick. A little bit of prep time ahead for the mix, but other than that, you guys can whip these up at a party, just for dinner, impress your friends and family. They're going to love it. Cheers, guys. Thank y'all for watching. That is so good. That is so good. Be grab. Yummy.